Welcome back to the Reidel Law Firm YouTube and Odyssey channel. Today I want to chat about how much and when do I pay import taxes. This is a question we get quite a bit online, just from folks who are starting their import journey, right? Importing products to sell, and they have questions about what do I do, right? Well, how does this even start? How do I figure out what import taxes are? When do I pay them? So we're going to walk you through that. It's not too complicated, and really, it's very unlikely that you will be the one handling all of that, right? So let's go over that process. So the first thing that you should understand about commercial imports. So commercial imports are you are importing significant products at value, at a certain value, right? Over $2,500 that are for sale, right? You are importing it for a business. I want to make sure that you understand that. So if you're thinking about personal imports or really small value stuff, this is not applicable, because there's a whole different process for that. And that's called informal entries. We're talking about formal entries, or really in general, commercial entries. So things that are being entered into the United States for commercial purposes, right? To be used or to be sold. Well, what do we do, right? So formal entries, let's talk about that. Now, formal entries, whenever you're importing significant products, significant value, you're not probably bringing it in yourself personally. You're relying on a freight forwarder or a shipping company, and ideally a customs broker, right? Now, all of those roles do some similar things. Some of it overlaps, some of it doesn't. Let's go over just those roles real quick. I think it makes sense. Freight forwarders, they are basically shipping brokers, right? They find you the shipments that you can put your products on, and they make sure the shipper does what they're supposed to, and they help you prepare paperwork. So they do quite a bit, and they are an important role in international trade, right? And you may have worked with them without even knowing, right? Some freight forwarders are logistics companies or shipping companies. They do a little bit of everything, right? Even if they don't ship it directly themselves, they will contract it out to someone in their network or find the right fit so that they can get your products where they need to be. So, yeah, that's freight forwarders. Next is a shipper, right? Shipper is the company that physically takes it and moves it. It's the shipping companies you're probably aware of or maybe use: DHL, FedEx, UPS, the big companies, right? The big shipping companies, Maersk, if you're doing big stuff. Those are companies that physically take it, put it on their ship, and move it for you. Okay? And they will probably do some paperwork, right, for you. And if they don't, then they have teams of customs brokers that do that for them, like UPS, FedEx. They have custom broker division that makes sure all their paperwork's filled out for their shipments. And then a customs broker. So a customs broker is an expert at customs compliance. That's what they do. So they are experts in understanding all of the rules to bring your products into the country. They are the only people permitted by customs to input and to submit your entry documents, right? So all the paperwork that you have to submit to the U.S. government, to customs, they're the only people that are authorized by the U.S. Customs to actually handle that paperwork and represent you in their system, right? In ACE or whatever, or any type of a challenge, right, or whatever. So those are the three roles. It's very likely that you have one or more of those roles in your commercial imports, and that very likely they're the ones filling out your paperwork and making sure that everything is filed, right? Your entry documents. So import taxes, how do you know what they are? So there's one aspect of import taxes is a tariff. There are some tariffs on quite a number of things, and the way you find out if you have a tariff is you look in the HTS, the Harmonized Tariff Schedule of the United States, HTS US. There's a great website online. I think Customs runs it. I forget, where you can search and dig a little bit deeper into the HTS. It is, if you like looking up stuff like in an index or in a library, you'll like HTS, and you'll maybe have fun with it. If you don't like that, like most people, it's probably better you rely on your experts, whether it's your customs broker or your freight forwarder, to find out what tariff is applicable for you, because there are a number of rules around how to read and understand the HTS and to find the right product. And line item under the HTS. I'm going to save that for another video because that gets really, really deep. So they're going to handle that. That's how you find out what the base tariff is. Now, there are other import taxes. There are things like your, what is it? The harbor fee. I don't forget exactly what it is. It's a fraction of a percent of the value. There's other various user fees that CBP imposes. So there are other fees along with that. Probably the bulk of it, of any customs payment, though, is going to be the tariff. That's going to be the biggest part of it. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit behind what those fees are and how to find some of those details. The next step is, how do you pay it? So commercial entries into the United States handle tax payments through a bond. A bond is just like a bail's bond, right? You are relying on someone else to handle those payments for you when you put up a portion of it, right? You put up a fraction or a portion or a certain flat fee amount, and then the bond is granted by a bond company, and that bond company handles payments to customs, right? Now, whether you can have bonds per shipment or you can have bonds on a continuous basis, right? If you are doing business actively and importing regularly, a continuous bond is almost certainly what you need and what you should do, which that means that that bond company is going to be continuously paying for each shipment coming in, and you just have to go back and refill the tank, every so often, depending on your volume and the fees that you're paying. So that is, a lot of this happens behind the scenes, right? It's people kind of have this misconception: if they're importing, they have to physically hand their paperwork to customs, physically hand them a check. It's not how it works. It's all digital now anyways. But the people who are involved in your logistics chain, the customs broker, the freight forwarder, those are the people that are going to be filing that paperwork for you. Now, it's still your responsibility to make sure they do it the right way, which is important for you to understand what's happening and to know what your HTS code is and to know what type of rules or regulations are behind that import. But those roles, customs broker, freight forwarder, shipper, they're going to be the ones that physically file, right, and handle the online ACE paperwork for you. So keep that in mind. Now, one thing that we do, I will mention, if you are an importer to the United States, what we do is help educate our importer clients, right, about the customs compliance around their product. So really, the first place a lot of us start with our import clients is an import compliance memo. What we do there is we figure out what exactly the classification of your product is, what the tariff rates are, and then detail all of the regulations and rules and compliance requirements to bring your product into the United States. And we outline the entire process for you of bringing in products to the United States, so you want to have an understanding for it. And more importantly, that memo is designed for everybody on your team, right? So that your customs broker, your shipper, your freight forwarder, you can share it with them so that they know what exact HTS code they should be using, what compliance paperwork they should be expecting, to give them a heads up. Some customs brokers and freight forwarders are great at their job, but frankly, they're probably handling hundreds, if not thousands, of entries a week, maybe more, even sometimes a day, if these are big companies. And if your product gets lost in the shuffle and they miss an HTS code or some compliance issues, because they're not aware of it, they just haven't dealt with it a lot of times, you're going to be the one responsible. It's your products that are going to be detained, maybe not seized, but it will be detained at first to figure out what's wrong. And then it'll be your responsibility to make sure the paperwork is corrected and handled. So you have just significant risk, and you want to be involved in that process. That's what we do. We represent clients and understand that. I'm a licensed customs broker. I handle international trade matters. I have staff on my team from overseas who have handled compliance, and also staff who's worked like in specific industries, pharmaceutical or consumer products, right? That we know what you got to do to get the products in, right? So that's what we do. Reach out to us if you need help or you want to have an understanding behind how to import your product into the United States and what the compliance burden is with that. Now, if you, one caveat there is you want to be someone who's going to be importing regularly, who is a commercial importer. If you're just doing this one-off, one shipment of 10 grand of product to the United States or something, probably working with us is not going to be ideal. It's not going to be cost effective for you. But if this is an ongoing business that you have, then certainly I would recommend you reach out, right? And talk to us. We can help you. So that is import tariffs, what they are, how to pay them, and whatnot. If we can help you, reach out. Reidel Law Firm. We'd love to chat with you and see if we can be of assistance to you and how we can fit. It's always interesting what people are importing. There's, we just see everything from defense articles to technology, AI software, encryption software, to consumer goods, childcare products, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, everything. And they're all different. They're all unique and challenging and fun, and that's what I like about it. So reach out. We'd love to work together and help you out. So we'll talk to you next time.